Hello, this is Mr. Jarrett, and in this video I am going to be taking you through the line conventions part 1 presentation for technical drawing. So line conventions, also called line types, they vary in style and thickness, okay? And the whole point to these lines are to communicate a message. So you can see in this example over here, I have a whole bunch of different types of lines that you might see in technical drawing. You have heavy lines, light lines, medium lines with dashes, different types of dashes, some with arrows, some that look like freehand drawn lines, some that almost look like a pulse. Okay, they all communicate a message. So a real life example of this would be a road. There are tons of different lines on roads, and all of those lines have meaning. So they're color coded of yellow and white, and they all have meaning. Some are solids, some are dashed, some are double lines, some are single lines. So all of these different lines communicate messages to drivers and to pedestrians. So in part 1, I'm going to be covering object lines, construction lines, dimension lines, extension, and leader. That may sound like a lot of different types of lines, but they're very straightforward. So object lines, these define the object. Like I said, straightforward. So they are thick, solid, dark lines. So here is a kind of a hand sketch, and you can see the outline here is an object line. Here's kind of a 3D picture of a hand sketch, same thing. So the thick, dark lines. In SolidWorks, this is just kind of what outlines all of the shapes that you draw. Okay. Now, in drawing, whether it's hand sketching or on the computer, you can use what's called a construction line. So construction lines just help you build or guide the drawing to make the different shapes. So they're very light, thin lines. So they're not even meaningful other than to help you actually draw something. So if you think of the word construction, like a construction site, there's a lot of equipment, a lot of scaffolding, fencing, all this stuff that eventually gets taken away. The construction lines are just there to help you build it. Okay, in SolidWorks, they are represented by these little light, thin dashed lines. Okay, so a realistic example here, if you've ever sketched something, maybe in an art class, so here's like the realistic shape, like the object, the physical object itself in the sketch. If you've ever sketched something, you've probably done this. You've probably used little light guidelines, maybe, which I'm going to call construction lines. They help you build it. And then eventually you outlined everything, which is your object lines. Okay. Then we have extension lines. Extension lines extend from the part. It's almost like if you put your arm out, you're extending away from the main part of your body. Okay, these extension lines are just these little thin lines that are moved away from the object, and they just extend out. Kind of shows you where you're dimensioning from. It says here that they are 1/16 of an inch away. Back in old technical sketching, you actually had to have that measurement down pat. Computers are automatically programmed to do that. But these are light, thin lines that extend off of the part. The dimension lines are the ones with arrows that are pointing to the extension lines. And they are also light, thin lines. So there are two different ways that you may see dimension lines themselves. Sometimes the arrows are in between the two extensions. Sometimes the arrows are on the outside, but you notice they get flip-flopped. So basically what this is saying is, for this measurement, hey, from this line right here to this line right here, notice how the arrows are pointing? It's that measurement. It's the same thing here. It's saying from here all the way to here is this measurement. So just depending on how much space you may have, whether the arrows can be on the inside of those extension lines or not. A leader line is when you have some type of curve or note. So it's a detailed note, arc, curve, whatever, but this is a light thin line. It looks just like a dimension line, but it points to something. So it's not in between extensions, it's just pointing to something.